Located just under an hour from Tamworth in New South Wales, Australia, is the Sheba Dames campsite. Access to this campsite is from a tarred road coming up from Nundle. There are 2 dams at this campsite, which is what gives it its name. This is a free campsite. Please note, there's no power boats allowed on the dams, not that they're really big enough to have one anyway. It is quite a lovely campsite with lots of open space. There is a list of rules that you need to abide by if you are going to camp, and while I was there, we were checked on by the ranger. The campsites are not exactly what I would call flat, they are mostly slightly sloping, with places in between where you can find places to pitch a tent. This campsite is suitable for tents, swags, rooftop tents, camper trailers and caravans. It's easy access for all types of camping. If you do look around, you can find a level spot to pitch your tent. I do recommend you look up because there are lots of large trees. At the time of recording, this was a long weekend and the campsite was fairly busy. The campsite looks out over Sheba Dam 1. You can camp across the other side of the dam and further off into the bush. There is a few eating shelters at this campsite, but you're not to camp in these or use them for camping. They're supposed to be for day use only. Make sure you look up when you're setting up your tent because the large trees have quite a few dead branches in them. There is fire pits at this campsite and they request that you use their fire pits provided. I did manage to find some wood while I was there, but I would recommend bringing your own. There are also plenty of bins for rubbish disposal. There's some good information boards at this camping site, giving you some really great information about Australian animals, fire ratings and Sheba Dams themselves. The Sheba Dams were built in 1888 to provide water to the gold mines. You can swim in the dams, but you need to be careful as it is quite cold. I did take a dip while I was there. The Sheba Dams are stocked with fish, but please pay attention to bag limits, what you're allowed to use to catch them, and when you are allowed to fish in the dams. Please note, in Australia you do require a fishing licence. You are allowed to take a non-powered boat, such as a canoe or kayak, out on the dam. If you wish to fish with bait for trout, you can pick up trout fishing baits down at the local shop at Nundle. As I mentioned earlier, there is more bush camping on the other side of the dam. If you're looking for something for children, the Sheba Dames has a children's bird walk where they ask if you can spot these 10 different birds. There is an abundance of bird life around this campsite. The toilet facilities at this campsite are very clean, well kept, long drop toilets. Now, somebody had left the lid up and they did smell a little bit while I was there, but once the lid was put back down, there was no smell about them. They are well stocked with toilet paper. There is a hand basin to wash your hands, but there is no drinking water provided at this campsite. It is a beautiful campsite up the hill from Nundle. If you're looking for something else to do while you're camping here, just duck back down to Nundle. It's not a far drive to the Gold Mine Museum. You can also duck into the Nundle Woolen Mill. They run tours and it's quite interesting watching all the machinery in action. If these things are not quite your style, you can always go to one of the areas where you're allowed to pan for gold or fossick for gemstones. You can also check out the Nundle Visitors Centre. They have an amazing display of rocks and gemstones.